quiet room.
It sure is.
Kind of a question.
Oh, please don't thank me.
You know who sings that song? You know who sings that song? Don't leave it that way.
It's not Dean.
Not me. Was it the Eagles?
Yeah, I walk around.
I thought it was.
Walking back.
You did, yeah.
All right, it is 7 o'clock, so we will get this meeting started. Tonight is Thursday, July 18th, 2024 at 7 PM, and we will call this regular town council meeting of the town of Bristol to order. We'll start off with the pledge of allegiance. And Mike, would you lead us this evening?
There pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And to roll call, start to my left, Doug Smith. Here. Dean Renfro.
Here.
Kathy Burke.
Here.
Greg Dolsky.
Here.
Jeff Beechey's here. All right, town manager Mike Yoder. Clerk treasurer Kathy Antonelli.
Present.
Legal counsel Alex Bowman. Here. Town marshal Steve Frame.
Here.
And assistant fire chief Jimmy Haynes.
Good evening.
Evening, Jimmy. Okay. Everybody had a chance to review the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, are there any additions, corrections, or changes that need to happen to the agenda?
It seemed.
Okay, if not, the agenda will stand as published. Next item, approval of the previous month's invoices. Anybody a chance to look at the bills?
Yes.
Any questions on the bills?
Hmm.
Nope. Okay, not, is there a motion to approve the invoices?
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices.
Okay, motion by Doug,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolphy.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries. Next item is approval of the previous minutes. We have minutes from the June 6th, June 20th, and our July 16th work session. We had a chance to review those.
Yes.
Any corrections or changes that need to be made?
I make a motion, we approve the June 6th, June 20th, and July 16th minutes.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. Further discussion, we'll take a vote. Robert Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries. Okay. Moving right along to our reports, it doesn't look like there's anything under planning and development, so we'll get right into reports with Mike.
Good evening. First up, we have contract B, for the water infrastructure project. This is for the water tower construction. We've reviewed this in the past, but see Jenny's here tonight if you have any specific questions.
Yeah, I think we just at our first meeting in July, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
So the second half of the water project includes the water tower. Just the water tower.
Okay.
This is the agreement and the notice to proceed for Monday and the notice board. 3 pieces of paper.
okay. Is there a motion to approve notice of award on contract B for the water tower construction project?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Doug. I will second that. Open for discussion.
What's the interior tower improvements? What is that? That on the new tower?
That's correct, yes. So there's actually a little control room on the inside, as well as a set of stairs as opposed to a straight.
Goshen's got.
Hmm?
Kind of like Goshen's got inside the meeting rooms and stuff. Okay.
Not meeting rooms
Well,
per se,
maybe
but yeah,
meeting rooms in there,
yeah,
but you've got
nothing,
room in there.
yeah, nothing so fancy as that, but there will be additional storage and the stairs are the big one. So you'll have to climb the straight stairs or straight ladder to get to the top.
Okay. I'm just curious what that was.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg DeHolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Okay. Next up, I have just a couple small items, although the second item might, I expect some conversation with you folks. First relates to emails and our website. I think I might have mentioned that the state of Indiana is requesting, well, primarily requiring that all government entities use an in.gov email address. So we're in the process of transitioning. And we figured out an easy way to do that so we could keep our current emails for as long as we wanted. But we still have the other address, so everything ties together. This was working really well until for the last, our current emails are tied to our domain, our website domain. And about 2.5 weeks ago, Jill started having trouble paying her bill. It's $20 for a year for our domain. And they keep rejecting our credit card and they've rejected my credit card, so I know we've got a problem. Pretty sure.
Or you do.
So, extensively, we're going to lose our domain tomorrow, which loses potentially our emails tomorrow, which potentially shuts down our website tomorrow. So we've got our IT folks working on this, so we may or may not have emails tomorrow. We may or may not have a website tomorrow. We'll find out. But I am now in the process of finding a new domain and a new website. This is just, our website's now really critical. We have, state required notices, all of our meeting links are there for video and audio. So this is somewhat troubling, but a lot of people were working on it today. We may or may not have an additional 15 or 30 days of grace period. That's a little unclear as well in the emails we've gotten. But essentially, Squarespace has no customer support other than some computer AI generated stuff.
You don't have any reason why they rejected it at all.
We found a little glitch maybe on the credit card yesterday, which should have fixed it today, but it still hasn't. And so Jill found another contact with a person who may know a person which can actually fix it. So we'll find out tomorrow. So just in case nothing works well tomorrow, if I come in tomorrow morning and it's not working, I've already started working on plan B. Okay.
Okay.
So just an awareness. It may be an interesting day tomorrow. Secondly, the splash pad. And Dean, I'm going to ask you to kind of help me out here. I'm going to explain how I understand the situation, but Dean, you were involved in maintaining this splash pad for a long time. So it's an old splash pad. We had a lot of complaints, or a number of complaints about kids slipping and falling on the splash pad. We have power washed this pad. In fact, it was just power washed last week. And because we're using well water, the pad becomes very slippery very quickly. So we'd almost have to power wash every other day. And even then,
At least it depends on the weather. If it's really hot,
hot,
it gets
humid
worse. Yes.
makes it worse. Second problem we have is the cement surface is uneven and we have pooling water, and it's an old surface. So the only other pad that Jill and I were able to find that's older than ours was Wakarusa's, and they've actually replaced their pad. The other thing is we apparently are the only ones that are using well water. We need to be using town water, but we cannot use town water because we discharge into the river.
Yep.
That also restricts what we can use to clean the pad because we discharge into the river. We can't treat our well water because it discharges into the river. So the solution is, in my mind, a new concrete pad, re-pour that pad, and maybe investigate, there may be some new surfaces for splash pads that'll be much more kid safe. Secondly, we need to use town water there, which will involve installing a lift station because we have to discharge it to our wastewater treatment plant. So that's what the solution is. I think the best solution. Problem is we have a splash pad now that apparently is, I don't know what to do. I don't have the manpower to daily or even every other day power wash that pad.
Yeah, because it takes about, well, we bought the spinner, that helps, but it still takes quite a while to get her actually good and unslippery. And then, like I said, about 2 days, you lose it again because of the pools. It doesn't drain off right. That trench drain down the middle just doesn't get all of it. And it pools on those spots, and that's where it turns black and gets real slippery real quick.
And Linda is here from the park board, and she spent some time out there observing kids on the pad. And we have signs up, you're supposed to wear shoes, you're not supposed to run, but they're kids in
Yeah.
a splash pad.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the blue girl last night, she wasn't running, she didn't have shoes on, she wasn't running. She was kind of hot. And down she went on her knee. And it hurt, because she limped around for a while.
An option that Jill found is that perhaps we should shut the splash pad down for a period of time each day so it'll dry out before we restart it. That might help. I'm suspicious as soon as we start putting that well water back on, it's a hot, humid day, we still have that slippery surface. So my recommendation, as much as we don't want to do it, is to just close it until we make these repairs. So it's not,
Because
I
we've
think
been
anything-
notified almost publicly of the dangers, if you will, or whatever you want to
Yes.
call it, the circumstances. So to me, that moves our liability up a little bit, but we've been bounced about it, yeah.
so looking for some direction from you on what you'd like to do. I know nobody wants to close it down, shut it down for the season, but I'm not sure how many other options we have if we're concerned about safety. So,
Well, I think there's two, you'll look on here.
Probably two important points for the record. I mean, first, the town is aware of some potential issues with the splash pad. And at this point, does not acknowledge that it's responsible for any issues that may have arisen with the splash pad. I think that's on a case by case basis, but certainly it's been brought to the decision makers' attention that there are potential childhood concerns for children who may be using the splash pad. And I don't think the council at this point, nor is the town aware of any significant injury, anything other than would normally happen with some rough housing on a playground perhaps. That said, the issue does appear to be a reasonable concern. And given that the remedy for it involves cost, involves some investigation, involves some determinations by not only the park board potentially, but also by the council, I would tend to agree that the recommendation as unsavory as it may be to the community, and particularly to the children who enjoy the splash pad, in the near term, to close it so that it can be investigated and determined to be safe is prudent. I can't help but think that the town's insurer would get a copy of the transcript of this meeting to the event that anything did happen, and would not look favorably upon a continued use in face of the concern.
I think since we know we have issues. Whether that would be the fault of the fall or not, those issues need to be addressed, and I'm all for closing it down. We can't put that out there for kids.
And we tried everything. I mean, last year or year before, I think we had the guy come in with the special equipment and stuff, and it lasted for maybe a month, and then was right back. As long as that water cools, you just can't, it's gonna turn the motor.
The whole purpose of the splash pad is for children to enjoy themselves and have fun, not to get injured. And I think it's prudent for us to shut it down at this time to make sure it's safe. While we investigate, is there a way we can make this one safe? Or do we need to look at rebuilding it and redesigning it?
My thought last year was see if somebody could mill it, do a mill to level it out and leave it rougher instead of smooth.
Well, there's all sorts of finishes too, as far as concrete is concerned, with slight gravel in it that can make it more,
Yeah.
almost like that decals that
But I
you put
really
in there,
think if they milled it a little
instead
bit
of so
less,
smooth. Yes,
might help.
But I'm-
Couldn't hurt.
I'm for
We'll do that.
closing it.
okay.
Anyone else?
Seems like consensus is to close
Yeah,
it.
so is there, let's put this before I go.
I'll make a motion that we close the splash pad until it's deemed safer.
Okay. Motion to close splash pad by Kathy. Is there a second? I'll second. A second by Doug. Open for discussion. As much as we hate to do it, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Safest thing to do.
Yeah, safest thing to do for the community.
And will we put signage up? How will we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shut it down.
well, we'll shut the water off. That'll be pretty much notification.
It's something to think about, Mike, when you're doing that, and for Linda and the park board, is maybe look at the controls too. We upgraded the controls in the building. And maybe look at some of the plumbing controls down in the pit, because some of them are a little testy to get to,
Yeah, okay.
and it's been quite a few years.
All right, we'll shut that down tomorrow and start investigating some of these options.
We didn't.
Thank
You want to get them done before this.
Yeah.
You can take a voice vote, if you like.
So any further discussion? Okay, now we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Rick Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Right, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Anybody have anything for Mike? No. Okay. All right. New computer. Bear with me just a second, please. Okay. Kathy, what do you have for us tonight?
I have an amended salary ordinance number 7/18/2024-20. And this is to add in base rates for our town marshal, Steve Preem, and our two new hired deputy police officers, Riley Arbonitis and Chandler Pittman, as shown in the schedule.
Okay. And we want to do this on motion to waive the second reading and adopt on first, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay.
There is one, it's just a point, and it's, I think it's a scrivener's error. This is, an issue that we've addressed, the last amendment with the salary ordinance. As it pertains to, this is on page 11 of the ordinance. There's a highlighted section that talks about all other employees will receive, and there's that disjunction between the number, the written out number, and the numeral for the number of PLT days that are, it's been previously addressed and fixed. So I think that the ordinance as it stands reflects that change. But just to make sure that we don't re-amend it, to re-include the error.
I will make that correction tomorrow.
That's the only quasi-substantive comment I have on the amended salary ordinance. Other than that, as we discussed Tuesday, I believe the appropriate language would be to there would be a motion to waive second reading and adopt on first reading the ordinance as amended.
And with that in mind, is there a motion to approve the salary ordinance?
I make a motion, we waive the second reading and adopt on first reading the salary ordinance 7/18/2024-20.
Second out.
Okay, motion by Kathy, second by Dean. Open for discussion. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Rick Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
The council will now need a motion to enact on first reading amended salary ordinance 7/18/2024-20.
Okay. Is there a motion to enact this new salary ordinance 7/18/2024-20? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
second,
Second by Kathy. Open for discussion. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
yes.
Rick Dolsky.
Yeah.
Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries. Just like that, we're back to aimed.
Thank you. That's all I have, Council.
Okay, anybody have anything for Kathy? Okay, if not, Town Marshal. Steve, what do you have for us tonight?
The report of our statistics. June of 2024, traffic enforcement, we had 16 citations and 26 warnings issued. We had 278 calls for services through our dispatch center. 182 calls, actual calls. Vehicle crashes, we have one property damage accident, no personal injury, no fatal, no leaving the scene, which I felt was really low. When I was here before, that's very unusual, so that's good, but
Yeah.
unusual. Criminal enforcement, we took 20 cases, we closed 2 cases by arrest when they were taken. There were no operating while intoxicated cases, no felony cases of that nature. One drug possession or paraphernalia cases. We impounded 6 vehicles and we drove 7,364 combined miles. In June, we investigated 20 cases. 2 of those cases were closed by immediate arrest. 2 theft cases, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 domestic battery, 1 warrant arrest, 1 criminal mischief, 1 2 found properties. We continue to investigate several cases from this and previous month. And as far as traffic enforcement, we had the 1 crash, like I said, and 16 traffic citations, addressing speed, signal and sign violations. There were 3 of the citations were for driving while their license was suspended or never receiving a license. And the 26 written warnings. So that's our enforcement. I apologize, I can't address the code enforcement because I don't have that information. I will tell you my email and computer, I'm working blank right now, so I don't have access to that until next week. So, I think they emailed you guys a copy of that, but I don't have it. So,
You got grace, well, you report days.
okay.
We'll give you some grace, Steve, it's all right.
And I will tell you, like, you addressed the salary ordinance, we have 2 full-time people that are gonna start within the next week. Which will put our manpower up to 8, including myself. And we have several other applications in, so, there is light at the end of the tunnel as far as our manpower issues. And I think we have good quality applicants coming in. That's my report from that. I do have one other thing. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It has to do with my, health insurance for the marshal position, particularly me.
Yes.
Currently I am on the city of Goshen's retirees plan since I retired from the Goshen Police Department. I pay a monthly premium of $540. When I was exploring, or when I took this job here, my goal was to keep my health insurance through the retirees' health insurance and just either have the city pay for it or somehow work something out with you guys. I checked with their provider and they're fine. They're not gonna require me to take insurance if it's offered to me. I was told, 2 marshals prior to me, Marshal Swallow was in a similar situation. He was retired from the state police and retained his retiree's insurance, so I'm asking for some consideration or whatever, however you wanna do that. If I could keep mine and just the city pay the premium, which I believe might be cheaper than what my health insurance would be through here.
Yeah.
And mine includes the health, dental and vision. So the only thing I need through the town of Bristol would be the short-term, long-term disability and the life insurance or whatever. So
Right, those 3, right,
Short-term,
Jill?
life-term.
so that's my small speech.
Okay. Okay, did Jill write something up? Does she have a,
Right there.
Jill?
Hey, sir, come in.
Did you have an agreement written out, correct? Or,
I don't know if it was ever a formal agreement, but if it could be the minutes for documentation.
okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, I
I
think,
don't either.
because it's lower cost than our insurance that we're paying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually saving us money, so. Anybody against it? Is
I don't do that.
there a motion to approve Steve using his existing insurance and the town pays him?
I'll make that motion. I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Dean,
Second.
second by Kathy. Over discussion. No further discussion. I'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and John Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Go ahead.
Thank you for what you do for us and pray that you and your staff stay safe. Okay. Jimmy, what do you have for us tonight?
Good evening. Chief Gantz is on vacation. They all are there, so there's not really for-
Just tonight?
Just
Okay.
twenty twenty-four operations report. We responded to hundred and seven calls in June. We had 433 responses. Staffing, we're still short one full-time firefighter EMT and short one full-time firefighter paramedic. So if anybody knows anybody that certified, send them our way. Yep, staff, yeah. We're happy to report that we had 0 firework accidents or incidents over the homecoming, which was awesome. We didn't have calls, but nothing to pertain to the homecoming, which was good. We're finalizing the construction on the new ambulance. That we started and put on the line next month. So with any luck, we'll have that November, December, we'll have a new ambulance. Nice, looking forward to that. The training grounds behind us there in St. Joe, it's moving forward. We've installed a driveway now, so we can actually get our trucks off the road and actually just more hands-on training, so we're not tying up a street. So look to see us over there periodically doing what we do. We enjoyed the homecoming, good time. But it was a little warm, but we made it. I want to thank the homecoming committee for the homecoming this year as well. My report is not near as long as the new marshals.
I'll do so maybe we can try that.
That's all I have for tonight. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Chief Haynes?
No.
Okay, thank you for the report and we pray that you and your staff stay safe as well. Absolutely. All right. Park Board, Miss Linda, what do you have for us tonight?
For the July meeting, we started it out with a discussion on the use of the gator by Perry. So that everybody knows who Perry is, he's the one that waters all the flowers. He cleans up along the streets, he knocked down all the weeds behind Subway. Cleaned up along the building, the open door center along there. And he helps with the community garden. So he does an awful lot of stuff around town and he's often in the Gator when he's doing that. But he had an occasion to go to the library and he is now redoing their landscaping at the library because it's an absolute mess. And I don't know if you've had a chance to go look at it, but he and Dean worked on it a little bit. They moved some bushes and the benches and stuff like that. But we feel that Terry has done a lot. If he feels that he needs the Gator to take tools to get these things that he wants to get done for the town done, we feel as a park board that as long as he is doing something to benefit the town and he's staying in town, not using the Gator for personal use at all, it has to be something that's benefiting the town. We will give him permission to use the Gator. So he's at this point a little timid now. He had Carol get him a cart. So now I won't use Gator, he's using a cart, pulling a cart up and down the street now. But I just wanted you to know that he doesn't do things that he's not supposed to do. He stopped at the post office and he took a pasta plant that the post office gave him, put in the library. So he's not using it for personal use. He's using it to beautify the town. And so the park board has given him. Carol Reeves from the library was there at our meeting, and she said, on August 17th, they're going to have another car show. It was very successful last year. They had like 90 cars. And they're hoping to even have more. But it'll be on August 17th, at 11 to 3. And she was interested, she wants to have a banner across the main street here. And she wanted to know if the park board would help them buy that banner. So we are, the banner's $717, so we told her that we would. We also had a talk with her about how we can coordinate more things between the park board and the library. She's got a lot of good events, and we have some facilities that she would be able to use. So it was good talk to have her at our meeting. Condon Park, Eric Pumphauser, the street department superintendent, was there. And he reported about the graffiti that was on the floor of the pavilion down in Condon Park. And they were able to neutralize the bad language, I guess you want to call it, that was on the floor, and homecoming committee said that it would be all right if they went ahead and used the stage and everything, and we would deal with the actual getting rid of that after homecoming. Then Eric talked about, there's the condition of the pavilion is kind of deteriorating. And they determined it was okay for them to have homecoming, but after that, we really need to take a look at it. And I had talked about it, that the Corn Dog Festival, that possibly Monogram was interested in helping us either rebuild or just to do the repairs on the pavilion. So we're gonna find out about that. Mike's gonna find out about that. Sunshine.
Absolutely.
We're like a deer in the headlight look there, Mike.
The railing that's falling apart on the pavilion is at the back, and I don't even know why we have a railing there anyway.
We came to the same conclusion.
Yeah, it's a step about that far. We have a banister, I have.
Okay, the kayak launch in Condon Park now. The kayak launch is very difficult to maneuver. It's quite, the slant is quite stiff, and it needs to have some work on it. And so, we'll be looking at what we need to do there to make that a little easier for people to use it.
Which one we just put in?
We just put it, yeah, we.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one, no, not the brand, not the new, not the handicap. This is,
One, but
The only one at Condon Park.
right, the only one.
It's for,
The one we just did.
It was just.
new for me.
Okay,
Wasn't
We have-
still undone that
we have a
long.
relatively inexpensive way to.
okay.
The mulberry tree in Cummins Park depositing berries on our walking path, and that needs to be removed.
I think it was taken down in fireworks. I think that's what they took down,
One right at the end of the ball court on the west side,
right
northwest
in that
corner.
area. Mhm, for
Yeah,
sure.
it made a mess of that track all the time.
Oh, that part. Okay, I was thinking front part.
And Eric has worked with Wendy, the playground consultant, and he will be coming back with costs to fix the areas that are not compliant. And hopefully this will be part of our 5-year plan. And then Eric talked about the splash pad, and we've gone over that. The pickleball courts, there was a discussion on how long the lights should be on the courts. Due to the rising costs, the lights may have to be turned off at dusk. And the park board was talking about possibly having a fundraiser where we could help with the cost of replacing the lights with LED lights. So that the lights could be on a little longer now.
I have a question. You said to shut them off at dusk? That's when you would start to need them, not before dusk.
At dusk, you have to be out of the park, Kathy.
Well, I'm just asking. I mean,
Yeah, that's what. And they should never be on.
then they would never be on, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's.
Well, no, they need to check because they're on at 5 o'clock in the morning when I go to the restaurant. I didn't see anybody playing
I wonder
pickleball.
if they're on all night, I don't know.
It'd be
I
all
don't know.
day.
But I know that there's been several mornings I glanced down and they're on at 5 o'clock. That's nobody playing. I know that
Kind of mine.
thing kind of screws up every now and then.
They show up, yeah, they show up. Science Park, on the east side of the pavilion. Mike Rock talked about that area. There's landscape timbers that surround the old play area, those need to be removed. And, all the area that the fellows were mowing, that will eventually all be in, native plants and wetland natives. And it will not interfere with the GNR parking area. But eventually there will be a walking path around that area too. For the community garden, Mike Rock said there's a need for a small shed. Tools are coming up missing. It's wheelbarrows missing. And so, he's gonna look into a small shed and come back with some costs to the park. And I guess that's all. Is there any questions? Oh, no, we are gonna have a meeting on Thursday, September 5th at 6 PM at the Bristol Library. And this will be a discussion and feedback from the public on what they want for our 5-year plan. So I would like to have everybody there for that.
I just have one question, Linda. You mentioned something about a banner across here.
Yes.
Okay,
For the car.
I don't know what the state regulations are anymore, but I know we used to do that for the homecoming. And because it's a state highway, they made us not do it anymore. So I don't know, and we're talking 10 years, 15 years ago.
We have to get a permit. But I have-
You have to get a permit now. Okay.
Cause we did the one for the pickleball last year. Or not pickleball, corn dog festival.
So I had two
that's
permits
great.
this year, one for car show and one for,
Corn dog.
Doesn't, the corn dog people, don't they do the permit? Why would the town do it?
the town gets the permit for that, for both. But it's just easier for us to deal with NDOT. Doesn't cost us anything, it's free.
Okay.
But each entity is responsible for the purchase, well, except in this case for helping out, cardboard and the installation.
Okay, then
The
rules,
next one will be higher as well. We're adding another cable across.
rules have changed since
Yeah.
15 years ago. I just want to know.
So if somebody else comes up and wants a banner, we're gonna have to pay for that too. Since we opened that gate,
Mhm.
And we don't pay for banners.
well,
Well,
we are
part of it's
this-
donated for that.
We're
right,
donating.
but that's town money. That's what I'm saying, so the
Yeah.
next person comes along.
You can always say no.
People don't People don't. I didn't know that.
Agree with it.
I didn't realize that. Corn dog.
Okay, any questions for Linda?
May I interject something if there's
Sure.
no other questions? I kind of piqued my interest when you said something about graffiti. I would ask that if any of the town employees or department or anything finds graffiti, the police contact the police department, we'll take photographs of it and do a police report. We just need to discern whether it's just kids tagging stuff or we're actually dealing with some gang graffiti, so. I just asked that.
Good point.
That was done in this case.
Okay.
Justin.
The window,
Somebody
made a
got-
beautiful sailboat. out of it.
Well, yeah, well, I contributed a little bit too. Not a good kid
You
one.
guys are truly artistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else for Linda? Okay, thank you for the report, Linda. All right, Alex, you're up next. What do you have for us?
Thank you, Mr. Beachy. Council, there are two, ordinances, on tonight's agenda. Both are set for first reading, and public hearing as required by statute. I believe we should take these in turn, and do a first reading, of ordinance 18. First reading, any comments, public hearing, close, motion, and then on to the second one. I think it will make the record a little clearer as far as whether any remonstrators wish to speak on any particular ordinance.
Okay.
So the first ordinance, is ordinance number 8/15/2024-18, which is an ordinance of the town council of the town of Bristol, Indiana, annexing certain territory and declaring the same to be a part of the town of Bristol, Indiana. Perhaps most important for the presentation aspect of this ordinance is one of the last pages, which shows the map, the legal description. Looking at it, even as a real estate attorney is particularly helpful. The map, I believe, gives a little more indication as to what territory is involved here. The highlights of the ordinance are these. The petition is submitted by the landowner. This is 100% of the owners of the land within the annexed territory have requested this annexation. This is 5 parcels of land consisting of approximately 155 acres. The territory is currently zoned A1. It's also zoned GPUD M1, GPUD M2, GPUD B3, M1, and M2. Again, we're dealing with 155 acres there, so a couple of different zoning considerations. Again, this is on first reading, so the council has not yet been presented with a fiscal plan that will need to be adopted before this ordinance can be enacted. That will occur at the next the August 15 meeting. Again, this is set for a public hearing tonight, required by statute. I can confirm for the record that notice of this public hearing was published in the Goshen News, which is a newspaper circulating within the town of Bristol on June 27th, 2024, which complies with the statutory requirements. That is the basis of the ordinance. Again, this is ordinance 18. With the first reading concluded, it's my recommendation that we open this up to public hearing as required by statute, and any of those interested in speaking with relation to this ordinance, again, with that property south of town, be entitled to speak in accordance with the rules of the council.
Why don't you get like word
Industrial drive.
industrial drive?
All the way to County Road 10, right?
Yes. Right there.
So,
East side.
other side, there we go. Okay, so this is the first one we're looking at. Okay. All right, so. Back to this, so in regard to. Ordinance number 8/15/2024-18. At this time, we will open up a public hearing. So anyone wishing to make comment, ask you to please step up to the podium. You have basically give you 3 minutes to make any comments, ask any questions you may want to ask. And so at this time, if anyone wants to speak on this annexation, please step up to the podium.
And if I may clarify the rule of the public hearing as well, there are these 2 hearings that are germane to the ordinance business before the council. For any of the remonstrators who wish to speak generally to general issues before the council or issues that are unrelated to either of these 2 ordinances, that's a comment that is more appropriately made during the council's privilege of the floor section, which will follow the conclusion of these public hearings.
Thank you for the clarification. So yeah, specific to the annexation request, that's what the public meeting is currently being held for. There is, as Alex said, next up in 2 spots, also public comment for general comment. So again, specific to this annexation request, if anyone would like to make comment, please step up to the podium.
Cindy Kimes, Twin River Trail, Bristol. Is this where the bypass is going to go? Is that why we're annexing this?
This, yes, this property is part of that, is part of that route, yes.
Okay, is there going to be industry there?
That, we don't know. We're making no determination on what the use of the property will be.
So it's gonna be, is this gonna be I've heard roundabout out there? Because state won't let us have lights, street lights or stop lights, I mean.
I don't think the design of the roadway has been determined yet. There have to be traffic studies. I know we've done some work on that, but I don't believe, Cindy, we've made a determination on exactly what the road will actually look like.
Okay,
At this
so
point.
it's mainly because of the bypass. The annex.
No, the property owner has come to the town of Bristol and asked to annex their property in hopes that they can sell it for whether it's retail, industry, whatever. They're asking us to annex their property to become part of the town of Bristol.
Okay, what does that do for the town of Bristol?
So that brings additional property into the town of Bristol, and the tax revenue generated from that property will come to the town.
Okay, and what does it do for the property owner?
They get to pay higher tax.
They get to pay higher taxes.
Well, they also have access, lower cost water and sewer.
Yeah. They'll have access to water and sewer. They'll have access to police protection, fire protection, which they already have fire protection already.
Well, there, yeah, police protection.
Yes.
Right,
These guys do a good job.
right.
Okay, all right, so that was my
Mhm.
main concern, that it
Okay.
wasn't gonna jack everybody else's taxes up, that,
No,
No,
no, annexing property doesn't impact anybody else's taxes.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tim Irons, 905 Mott Hill Road. Obviously, you know that I'm not for any more development for industrial. And I believe the last time I was down here, weren't you guys talking about like some aluminum facility that you're worrying about getting ridiculous amount of power to so they could melt stuff down? Wasn't that the original plan to go down there?
No.
no.
What
No.
was it?
That, there's been
Remember,
nothing.
the last time I was here, you were talking about you were waiting for NIPSCO to get the power updated for one potential buyer of that property.
Not for this property in particular. The property for the aluminum extruder was over in industrial, over off of Earthway Drive.
Either way, myself and as you guys know, the majority of the town people, whether here represented or not, are totally against any more factories, period, in this town. That's everybody for the most part. That doesn't get some sort of kickback for it. Also, the town volunteering your property that you want developed to the town to have them annex it. I'm not sure. I'll ask you, Mike, but doesn't that like make that final decision up to this town council opposed to any recommendation from the county then?
County wouldn't have any role in a town annexation. So the voluntary aspect.
But right
yeah,
now,
voluntary.
that property in question is in the county and not in the town.
Oh,
So then the development goes to the county, and then the county gets to have a recommendation of how that land is developed.
yes, you're on planning and zoning, though. That's different than annexation. If
Right,
it's in the
but
county,
that's what follows, right? So
not necessarily.
as of right now, if it's not annexed, then it still has to go in front of the county and be approved by them, right?
For planning and zoning items, yes.
For planning and zoning.
If it's annexed, then the final decision is town council.
But it's up to the
Exactly.
property owner as to what they sell it for. It's not,
Yes, this is
up to-
true.
not up
This
to
is
us,
true.
whether it's an annexed property or whether it's not.
Well, that's not entirely true.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to approve for them to change the zoning.
Yeah, I think you need to understand that land will.
Well, that's what I'm
developed-
trying to do.
Yeah, the land will be developed as manufacturing regardless of whether it's in the town or in the county.
Right.
Yes.
But when the annexation goes through, then that cuts out half of the legal battles.
No, same legal battle, same number of steps. It's just that the town gets
Because
the final
the
say.
county don't get a say.
Well, county
They
plan.
do, they do, because
They said-
the town of Bristol doesn't have a planning and development department. So we rely on Elkhart County.
Right, you rely on their recommendation.
On their recommendation.
But when it's annexed by the town, then the final decision is you,
Correct.
without a recommendation from the,
No,
No,
they still,
come to us.
they still come to us with a recommendation. Because again, we don't have a planning and development department. So the initial recommendation, correct me if I'm wrong, the initial recommendation for any rezoning will come from Elkhart County. And then
So-
the final decision would land with this town, with this council.
so could you clarify what the benefit of the person trying to sell this land to have it annexed would be? Because nobody does anything without a benefit. And nobody's gonna allow their land to be annexed by the town and pay higher taxes and utilities for no reason.
So without annexation, they'd have to pay higher fees for water and sewer, extraterritorial rates for water and sewer. So it's a benefit to be inside the town. They're
For
also,
the buyer.
Yeah, for the
buyer
seller,
and the seller.
the buyer and seller, both. Yeah.
Than just a flat piece of county.
yes. So,
So essentially, what's going on here is a round the corner move to make it smoother for these people to put another industry in.
well, Tim, we have no say in what people do with their property.
Well, you kind of do, because if there has to be a zoning change, you do have that say. If
Yeah.
you go along with the zoning thing, then you approved it. If you say, hey, you know what? My town people don't want any more factories in here because the people that live in this town aren't working in this town. No matter how many factories that you put up. You know, and you, like I'm standing here representing, but you know well, if you could go around door to door, which it's not your responsibility to do, but if you did, you would hear a whole bunch more people saying the same thing that I did. So my point would be, you have the opportunity to keep farmland. You do not have to approve. You don't have to approve the
rezoning,
rezone. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, let me ask you one question then. What difference would that make if we did not do the annexation, but the county approved the rezoning and a factory goes in?
County
Well,
wants some-
then
That's up to the county then, if
that
it's
is
not
up to the
annexed.
county. That is
If
up to the county, but that's not the people that is representing me. Or my town.
But they come to
You are
us.
the people representing me and the people in this town that keeps paying the taxes. So you guys should be doing what the townspeople want, not what this person that's selling the property or the person that's developing the property wants.
I understand,
Even
what
if,
you- I'm
even
understanding
if the
what you're saying.
decision, even if the idea of the townspeople may not be the most profitable, but it's what we want, and it is our town, and you're not supposed to be making decisions for the profit of the town, you're supposed to be making decisions to follow what the townspeople want.
I'm understanding that, but what I am saying is, you said no factories, no more factories, keep it farmland. But an annexation, yes or no, does not guarantee that there will not be a
I
factory out there.
understand that.
That's what
And
I'm saying.
I do understand that
And
the
it's not-
annexation is separate from the rezoning. But I also understand this is the first step to make that rezoning go smoother. I mean, otherwise, nobody would be doing it. Because you can't tell me the reason why you would rezone, why a person owning that land
let me
Would
stop
pay
you there for
more
just a second, Tim.
for no reason.
Alex, can you clarify the current zoning on those plots already? Because Tim, if I understood what Alex just said, it's already zoned for manufacturing.
um,
Some of
Some of
it,
it is.
the zoning map
GPT.
that's available electronically would discern the specifics of it, but from the ordinance, from the face of the ordinance that's as proposed, the annexation territory, the entirety of the 155 acres approximately, contains several different zoning designations, one being Ag A1, General PUD with limited manufacturing, which is GPUD M1, General Plan Unit Development for General Manufacturing, which is GPUD M2, General Plan Unit Development Business and Wholesale, GPUD B3, Limited Manufacturing, which is zoned M1, and then General Manufacturing M2. So there are a number of different zoning designations in that proposed annex territory.
Okay, a lot of manufacturing right there right now.
Yeah, so is it this one parcel here in question, or is it both of these?
Yeah, there's 5 parcels in total.
1, 2,
There's the agriculture down in the bottom right. That's the only agriculture that is still.
ooh, didn't want to do that.
And I don't know if anybody's seen the study that the state of Indiana has just released about how much farmland has been redeveloped in the state. And unfortunately, Elkhart County's leading that, of how much acres of farmland has been redeveloped to industrial. And that's kind of sad. Because like I've told you before, this is a little farm town, well, was a little farm town. And now it's turned into someplace that nobody really wants to be.
So they're already zoned manufacturer anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Anyone else like to make public comment tonight? Okay. Hearing no other comment, we will close the public hearing at this point. And the next order of business would be to,
I think we should, on ordinance 18, the appropriate action would be to, motion to advance to second reading, ordinance 815/4-18.
okay. There a motion to advance the second reading ordinance number 815-2024-18.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Doug,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, council. Second item of business, this evening is, a similar ordinance, similar procedure for a separate, area. First reading, this is ordinance number 815/2024-19. An ordinance of the town council of the town of Bristol, Indiana, annexing certain territory and declaring the same to be a part of the town of Bristol, Indiana. Again, the last page here is a map that I think better demonstrates the area that's being considered here. A couple of notes on the face of the ordinance. This is a petition that is made by the property owner. It's signed by 100% of the owners of the property. This is a voluntary annexation, so it's requested by the property owner. There are 3 parcels involved here along State Route 15. This is approximately 38 acres of land. This is contiguous to the current boundaries of the town in accordance with statute. As indicated on the last ordinance, there is a fiscal plan yet to be developed by Baker Tilly that will be presented to the council prior to the second reading and proposed adoption of this ordinance. Again, this is set for public hearing as required by Indiana law. I can confirm for the record that notice of the public hearing was published by the Goshen News, which is a newspaper of general circulation in the town of Bristol, on June 27th, 2024. That's the long and short of the ordinance. A note on the zoning. This is currently zoned A1, agriculture A1, under the Elkhart County zoning ordinance. The procedure here is identical to the prior ordinance. We'll need to have a public hearing. The public hearing should be conducted in accordance with the council's rules on public comment. Again, If there are comments from remonstrators that are not germane to this ordinance, they would be better stated during the privilege of the floor section of the meeting. At the conclusion of the public hearing, I'd recommend the council motion for this ordinance to be heard on the second reading.
For clarification, the 3 parcels in question are they the Lux?
No, it's the, right there, those two there.
Okay, so these 3 right here, okay. Because this is already,
Only to the yellow line, the yellow portion is in town.
yeah, so the yellow is already in the town of Bristol.
It's a strange annexation at that time. I'm not sure why they stopped there.
Yeah, that is weird. Okay, so at this time, we will open up a public hearing to hear any questions or concerns regarding annexation ordinance number 8-15-2024-19. If you'd like to make public comment, please step up to the podium and state your name and address and any concerns you may have.
I have a letter to read on behalf of citizens. Can I, is there
Yes,
time to do that now? Okay. Dan Noble, I live on Trout Creek Road, I have a Bristol address pretty much my whole life. We moved here when we were 6. Pineville Mill, County Road 17, and I'm on Trout Creek Road, which is beautiful. So over 100 signatures were gathered. I know everybody's probably aware of that. I'm gonna just read a little bit of the letter. I'll try not to make this too boring, but dear planners, we would like to give special thanks and appreciation to the county board members who did not approve our past rezoning of the property along St. Joe River. We felt the process is being rushed and pushed through, and their decision to table it was appreciated. We felt heard and listened to the morning of Thursday, December 14th, 2023. Thank you. In today's world where private citizens are losing more of their voice to big government and more significant taxes from commercial interests, we appreciate your willingness to consider the hundreds of voices and thousands of people, that's not an exaggeration, who will be impacted by this decision and their opposition from rezoning the 80 acres over 2,000 feet of riverfront commercial. I'm gonna repeat, 2,000 feet of riverfront to commercial from farm. And I know this isn't a zoning, but that's where this is going. We all know it. While this property may seem ideal for commercial use or business perspective, the hundreds of landowners along the river, upstream, downstream, need to be heard. And the thousands of people who love kayaking, boating, and enjoying the river every year should also be considered. In addition, the natural habitat will be disrupted and the ripple effect will be felt in surrounding areas. If this decision is made, it will forever change Bristol and is not, cannot be reversed. The logic behind the claim is that commercial property across State Road 15 is flawed. That property does not have over 2,000 feet of frontage on the St. Joe River. And it doesn't directly impact so many residential properties connected to it, up and down the river, and all those who enjoy the river. The gentleman who represented the commercial interests of landowner shared that there wasn't a lot of property available. We would respectfully disagree with that. And could show where there are many hundreds, if not thousands of acres of land. As one of the board members so eloquently shared, I think this is not so much about land use, but about policy. Comment was made earlier about Bristol and the beauty of Bristol and going from a farm community, which I remember that. I grew up in that environment. Maybe the farmers aren't selling their properties for good reasons. Regardless, there are many other places where a commercial building could go. Only one place, one piece of property where thousands of people in the community enter into Bristol through the river, which would irrevocably be damaged in this, if the city planners government allow the land to be zoned, which the first step is the annexation of this. It was a breath of fresh air to hear one of the county board members share their experience about living on the river and how they personally experienced how far sound travels due to the river. It was helpful to hear another share that people up and down the river would hear the sounds and beeping of forklifts, trucks, and other equipment at who knows what hours of the day, what hours of the night. We do want to express our concern that the consultant and a few county board members seem dismissive of our concerns about the significance of this being rezoned. We were reassured that our voices would be heard throughout the process. However, many of the citizens felt that rezoning to commercial from farm residential and was a foregone conclusion, and that was disheartening. We as citizens who would have our daily lives change and see our property values reduced want to go on public record that we are against this for the following reasons: light pollution, sound pollution, chemical and liquid pollution, traffic pollution, changes in wildlife. Many forms of wildlife will be eradicated due to the rezoning. It is common for deer, birds. I've seen eagles. This isn't an exaggeration. I've seen eagles flying down the middle of the river. Thousands of ducks, fish, and even otters are common in the river, which would be affected in a way no one knows fully and could never be thought back or brought back if any of this is taken away. Permanent financial loss of property value for residential homes for all the many neighboring landowners and citizens as well. Can you take over a minute? Or can somebody take over? I'm trying.
Is that speaker on?
Yes.
You can hardly hear him.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, it was. Sorry. Yes, it was said that there are laws and strict protections in place along the rules that must be followed, and that we should trust the government and businesses to honor all these rules. With commercial use trucks, equipment that come for commercial use and rain runoff, we know that things happen, accidents happen, and people make mistakes, and others won't care. The wildlife will care if either live or die, negatively impacting the area forever. I'm gonna pass over, I'm losing my voice, I'm sorry.
So those who live on the river, I'm Rosanna, and I live on 806 Crawford Road. Those who live on the river enjoy, well, how do we say it? They're a passionate group of people and have concerns that even as this information leaks out, there won't be 20, 30, or even 50 people who will be strongly against this, but instead hundreds and likely even thousands. As we shared and will continue to share, any government official who votes for this is making an irreversible decision, will take away something for all future generations. Our future schools will be able to see clearly that each voting member was given a clear written warning of this damage, and they will inevitably be done and would not be able to say they were not aware of what was happening. The Friends of the St. Joseph's River, Bristol, Indiana, will be carefully documenting the before it was like and what after is like for all the future generations to see. No, we don't know what commercial use we will have. If there is rezoned to any type of commercial use, this is a point. It'll change over the years. There will be not any public hearings. There will be not any notices to neighbors. There will be changes in the signing of the paper. Rivers are different from every form of land. All concerned citizens of Bristol St. Joseph River will appreciate the civic work of all our elected officials and those who are volunteer as well. Please do not take this as bashing or being negative. When we look at the downtown Bristol and look at some of the properties in the downtown along the river and see what a mess those are, we see that the thousands of people who have been impacted supposedly to believe that the city can adequately manage and steward over 2,000 feet of sprawling river frontage away from the downtown, which seems that the city isn't able to get the downtown cleaned up. Those in government give reasons to why the downtown and other commercial sites have issues and claim that the past leadership caused these issues. With this project being in by the river, those in leadership will not be able to claim this. Again, we say humbly without knowing all the rules, laws, and situations. We are just naturally concerned for a good reason that is being shared by the developer, the attorneys, the city, and the owners of the property will not happen. In which each state we get closer to rezoning, it makes it harder to turn around or to have any control or even influence on what happens without ongoing fight, which no one wants. Respectfully request this property not be rezoned to any type of commercial. And I know this is the first step, but any type of commercial property due to the negative impact on everyone. We look who lives in this area and the wildlife, overall quality of life, and how it radically permanently changes the neighborhood and everyone upstream and significantly downstream on the St. Joseph River. Thank you for your further consideration and for hearing our voices and the many voices that are physically here to share, but not here, not nonetheless. Thank you for considering not only the short-term, but also long-term implications for everyone. Thank you for not allowing impact of money, increased taxes, the city receiving to outweigh the citizens who are strictly impacted due to living on the river and enjoying the river. Sincerely, the citizens of Bristol, entire St. Joseph River community. It is not fair that everyone who enjoys the St. Joseph River does not have a say in this, as there's not a question about whether it will impact them at all. The question is if it will, isn't if it will impact them. The question is how much, how it's significant the impact will be. Most people in the community are concerned in the statement that are being made and things that are being said that honestly aren't true. And those that are saying things and statements that won't be held accountable. Many citizens have helped to create the website to highlight these things being said now. So the accountability will be public forever. And there's a website on there. Also signatures from over 150 people. And I'm sure that goes on. So
Thank you. Anyone else like to make a comment this evening? Yes, please.
My name is Jim Weinsbury, 910 Trout Creek Road, which is directly across from the little island on the river there. That island, I've lived there for over 3 years now, just directly across from the island there. I've seen bald eagles over there repeatedly in the trees. I've got videos of this. I've seen river runners that swim from there over to the island. There's deer with their fawns that swim across from the farmland over there. The bass fishing is wonderful there too. And I'm wondering if the partial that we're talking about, isn't that a preserved wetlands area too? Some of that down by the river there,
Down along here?
and down even farther all the way across, I think that was preserved wetlands area, if I'm not mistaken.
This area here?
That area also, yeah.
Yeah. So it might be, but this is the only parcels in question are just in the green area here.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I believe this will negatively impact all the wildlife there, especially the bald eagles. I mean, they're so finicky. It's and there's not a lot of them out there anymore. Just, we're nature lovers. We've been like this for 30 years and we love the river. I'm just wondering how it's gonna impact it. What's been done to figure out how it's gonna impact the wildlife there, and what's gonna happen to all that. And what happens to my property value, so I can directly across the river. Yeah, I'm sleeping at night as it is, I want to get forklifts and lights and, I mean, I'm directly across the river, splits from 100 yards away maybe. But I'm just really against this. We know it's gonna happen, and it's not gonna be good for any of us that live on that Creek Road, so. There's a lot of people that are concerned about this, and I just wanted to express my concerns also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm back. I live on Twin River Trail. The person that owns that property told me specifically, I don't want to change this zoning. I want it farmland. I want it to stay farmland. I do not want industry. You have to take my word for it, but by God, she told me that to herself. And then I was told that they want to take that R1 and change that into a housing development. And they want to come in our road, our Twin River Trail, because they can only have one access. Now, I may be wrong on that part. But you can say what you want, but I've got those people under control. I know how they come in our road and how they go out. And they're very cautious. We have young children, young little children. I mean, yeah, kids are crazy, but you can't, I mean, my own daughter almost got hit by Gordy Fernald. And after I got a hold of Gordy Fernald, he never sped through that neighborhood again. I didn't hurt him. I didn't touch him. I just told him, if he killed my kid, I was gonna kill him. I'm a mother there.
Okay, Cindy.
Why does she have?
I think he'll catch me up.
That's
But,
fine.
but we do not, Twin River Trail does not want her accessed into our development. So, I mean,
That's not-
but yeah. It's right there in the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac, and she owns 2 parcels in there.
We bought Jim's.
Jim, yeah, and Jim Weaver's, you know how beautiful Jim Weaver's was. Well, it's not anymore. She has not mowed it since she's owned it. She has not mowed the parcel in between Teal and Jeannie Kraus since she's owned it. Now, I thought there was a town ordinance in here. I know I'm off the handle here, but I figured if I say something to all these other people, maybe we'll get something done. Because I've got a neighbor that was home and gardens on the corner and it's barnyard trash now.
That was Jim's too.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Cindy. Anybody else? Hi, Tim. Welcome back.
I've got the same opinions about this, but it's way closer to home for me.
Yeah.
And in January, when we were at the county meeting and they were talking about it, and the developer, he brought up that the landowner would consider selling off some of this property by the neighborhood to the neighbors. You remember that? No?
There was a lot of discussion that day. There,
Yeah, when I went off the handle up there at the county building.
guessing all of that land's for sale.
Pardon me?
I'm guessing all of that land is for sale.
Right, but the developer specifically got back up and said again that the owner would consider selling off the land between the neighborhood there and where they were proposing to do the zoning changes and stuff. Then I believe the last time that I was down here a few months ago, I gave my information to you to pass along to the developer, and nobody's ever contacted me back about that. So I don't know if my information got lost and never made it to the developer.
I actually, and I got, Gabby, I passed the information on to Abby Thomas.
Okay, well, nobody ever contacted me about that because,
That I don't know because I gave her your number, name and number.
Okay.
So she was aware and I explained the situation that you were interested in the property.
yeah, and that was kind of a solution that I was trying to come up with. My neighbor would be interested in some of that land too, not because we necessarily need more land, but what's the money in the bank gonna do when somebody does that right behind your house? I would be willing to spend some of my money to keep that farther away from our neighborhood. And I know my neighbor was, and maybe a few other people might be, but I don't feel like that was a sincere offer. I think that was just something to kind of smooth that along. I would still be interested in it if it were relatively affordable and what the lands actually were. And I still don't want anything built over there. I really don't want a neighborhood. But I mean, if it did have to be developed, maybe an option opposed to factories and stuff might be like medical offices that are only open during daytime hours and then everybody goes home and we come home from work and still have a quiet neighborhood. That would be a lot more pleasable to the crowd than any more industry in this town.
Well, they get more money for their industry.
Well, we know why they're doing it, but you gotta speak tongues up here to get your message through.
1,000 for farmland and 20,000 for 100,000.
Yeah. So that's my position. I'm totally against the annex. I'm totally against any more. So. I still stand, if I had the opportunity, I'd try to buy as much of it as I could.
We can reach out to her again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Mark Worsman, 806 Trout Creek. The decision making to convert this, because it impacts so many people's property value, it impacts thousands of people. What's the decision making process on this?
So at this, it was Mark, right?
Yes.
At this point, Mark, all we're looking at is the annexation. So it would bring the property into the town of Bristol. That's all we're talking about tonight.
Well, they've all stated though, we all know,
Right.
right?
Right. Now, I will tell you right now that I've heard and I've been listening. And I understand your concerns. The good thing about this is with this annexation, the request for rezoning is gonna sit with this board right here.
If the
And I know-
annexation goes through,
What's that?
if the annexations goes through.
Yes. Yeah. If the annexation doesn't go through, then the rezoning request for that lies with the county.
And the county board, they had some people that were very, very strong against this. My understanding, based on attending that meeting, is that Bristol had already kind of just fast tracked it. Everything was good to go. I mean, that's what they said, so. I don't know if it's-
I don't, no,
We could take it.
I don't think,
I could clarify, but no, that Bristol had said they would be okay with a straight rezoning. It was just the process. And the county wanted a DPUD process, which involves more detail. So I was afraid people walked away from that county meeting with the wrong intention, with the wrong impression. County commissioners are very favorable for that to be commercial. They were only upset with the process beginning. So
Well, we looked at the videos, it would be interesting to go ahead because I have a very different impression based on 2 or 3 of the board members. And then the afterward conversation with them, they were very strong that it was not gonna. The river is huge and it's coming into Bristol.
before the commissioners, the rezoning, no, only the property south of town. This has never been before the commissioners. The rezoning.
The Bristol, we went to the, or
Yeah, I'd say right.
In December.
That's it, right?
That was the Wilton farm, wasn't it?
No,
No, Scanlon's.
Okay.
and actually,
I apologize.
at that meeting, what you're referring to was the county board said that town council was, what was it that they said?
yeah, when you walked and you said,
Progressive. The Bristol Town Council was very progressive on this.
you had said to me, Mike, when we had talked, that you were shocked that they went ahead and turned it down. You'd never seen any participation and that you were.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. I don't remember it on this land. That's
It was the land. trust me. So that, I mean, like if there's 500 representatives or 10,000 people that go ahead and, I mean, is there anything that's what would it take to go ahead and impact the board to go ahead and say, you know what, we're not gonna do it. It just negatively impacts. I mean, how many people would it take to demonstrate?
so I can tell you, Mark, the conversation this evening is making me think,
Okay,
making me think strongly about it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else this evening? One last time, anybody? Okay, if not, we will close the public hearing. And next course of action would be,
A motion to advance, this ordinance 8/15/2024-19 to second reading.
It's not second final.
no,
This is not, no, this is on first reading.
first reading.
Oh,
Advance to
advanced
second.
to second, okay,
Advance to second.
all right.
There a motion to advance to second reading? If not, I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Doug, open for discussion.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, it's already, this is annexation, not zoning. It's already zoned agricultural. It would take after even annexation for the county. It has to go through the county presents it to us and we have the final say if it is annexed, correct?
That's correct.
Everything below it's what, R1?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, but
R1 and
this is A1, so, okay.
R1 residential, right?
Yes, the annexed territory here that's identified in the ordinance is just that A1 portion. What this map before you doesn't clearly delineate is the existing town boundary by name,
Yeah.
although you can see it there, the difference between.
In the yellow and green.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Any further discussion? I will just say right now publicly that the comments that have been made Um, I'm not sure I would be in favor of manufacturing there. But
That's zoning.
as a zoning,
I agree.
but if we bring it into the town, then we have full control over it.
Yep.
So. Okay. Any other discussion? Now, let's take a vote on the motion to advance the second reading for annexation. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Strictly for annexation, no zoning.
strictly for annexation.
When I'm put zoning.
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is a yes. Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you, council. Both of these items are anticipated to be before the council on second reading, at the August 15th meeting. That's the time when, that's about the time that we anticipate Baker Tilly, preparing and presenting the physical plan as required by statute for both of these areas. That second reading does not require a public hearing by statute, so that would be a hearing, for the council to make the decision on whether to enact these ordinances. With that, I have nothing further.
Okay,
Thank you, council.
thank you, Alex. Anybody have anything for Alex?
Nope.
Okay.
See you guys.
Thanks, Kevin. All right, nothing under new business. And next item, privilege of the floor, public comment. So at this point, this time, if anybody would like to make public comment aside from the annexation meetings, please step up to the podium, state your name and address, and make public comment. What are you looking at me for, Cindy? Come on.
Cindy, you've been twice.
You want me to say it all over again?
No.
Lester Otto, I live out of 18686 County Road 23. And I just want to say thank you to whoever took charge of the mowing of the weeds down here at the intersection. My wife is happy. She can see down the road. I can see down the road. So whoever took responsibility, whether it's the state or you guys or whoever, my wife's happy. So thank you.
They did it the very next morning, they did that.
Down here,
They mowed that, sir, they mowed that the very next one, state highway came through. I come up and told my guy, I'd have to drive by there, told him, I said, that guy's gonna think you're a king. I got it done the next day. But it was the state highway. coming
And if
through.
you've just been quiet, I would.
I don't care if we get it. Thank you.
It was the very next morning.
Thank you, Lester. Anybody else tonight?
I'm just stretching my back.
I was interested in trying to figure out, we talked about the lights going on in the parks. And what, if the park is closed after dusk and before dawn, what's the use of having the lights on anyway?
That's.
I know, at the park, I came after dusk one time and I was walking my dog, who's blinded to the matter anyway, but I was down there probably in the fall, I believe about 9 o'clock, just after dusk, and the lights, there's in Condon Park, and there's lights all the way around the walking trail there. I was walking my dog, and the officer came and asked me what I was doing, and I wasn't aware it was dawn until dusk. I said, what are the lights on for if you can't walk on the trails after dark, or after dusk? And it's just a rule, but I'm just wondering why the lights are even on if you can't walk your dog.
I would say probably security reasons, just to.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no timers on the ones on the walking path. The only ones that have a timer is the ones on the pickleball court itself.
Okay, is it really necessary to have it or they close at dusk? I mean,
No.
it'd be nice if I could walk my dog at 9 o'clock at night.
Maybe
The
motion,
lights are on.
maybe motion detecting lights, if you had a motion detecting light that, along the bike path or the path, then we wouldn't have to have them on all the time.
For the fireworks at Cummins, the lights came on at dusk and people were complaining about it and they suddenly went off. I took credit for that.
Of course you did.
Probably, I'm trying to reset that.
Well, everybody said, Yoder, what'd you do? And I said, took care of it.
Well,
And they just went off.
there are times at Cummins Park that I can stand on my porch at the side of my house and see lights in Common Park way after dark.
Well, then
If I can
you
actually
report
see the
that.
lights.
Cause remember the
You think I
pickleball people
didn't,
requested
Cindy?
the lights. and I wanted them to turn on.
Look,
Yeah, so that is a good question, but I
Yeah.
think probably more
Anyway.
for security reasons, but I don't know for sure.
I think motion detectors would be great.
I did the pickleball court thing.
Sandy?
we're gonna talk about Twin River Trail again.
Okay,
There's gotta be something done. It's starting to look like hillbilly heaven. And, you know, everybody in there tries to do their best, except for the guy on the corner and Abby Thomas. She owns 2 parcels, has not voted since Weaver sold it. The guy on the corner is a landscaper.
Wouldn't know it.
okay. So
And,
Marshall Green, we'll talk to Mr. Craig.
well, I talked to Mr. Craig for almost an hour. And I said, get me the sticker, I'll go stick it on his door. He says, well, there's nobody home. I said, yeah, your point is? Yeah, stick it on his door. I mean, if you need somebody to go around and stick things on cars and stick them on doors, I'm sitting around all day, I'll do it. I'm not afraid.
The ordinance, Randy, the ordinance is under the police
Yeah,
department.
we can help facilitate that. And just so you know, I was gone from Bristol for 6 months. I was at the City of Goshen Police Department, where retired from, I was an ordinance officer, so that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Well,
so he has a passion for it.
could you please come down to the River Trail?
Yeah.
Because it was nothing like that when you were here.
Well, I had nothing to do with that.
But it was nothing to take credit.
Well, I'll help with that.
I mean, he needs help because there's houses down here, they got 5 cars in their backyard, but they put a fence around it. Stones on the grass, so you can park on the grass, but they don't want you parking on the grass. There's no common sense here, guys. Now the grass looks like garbage because of the stones. And I was told, park on the street, don't park in your grass. Come down Twin River Trail and see what
Can't do it. You can't park a motorcycle there without car.
Oh, they do, because they were told not to park on the grass. They said, he told them, park on the street. You can't park on the dark. And you can't see around that curve.
But that's a,
That road's not wide enough for cars anyway.
I know,
thing.
but this spring, supposedly, we're gonna show some improvement.
Next spring. Yep.
Yes.
Roads on the next page.
And Steve, if you need help, Cindy will help.
With it, yeah.
Just give her a advantage.
Oh, please, no, no,
You know what? Sandy, do you want a badge or a gun?
no.
She's already got the gun. Already got the gun, we're good.
No,
You don't need one.
you don't want Cindy to have either one.
David?
You don't either.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else that would like to make public comment?
I gotta ask you guys something.
Okay,
I'm Linda, Twin River Trails. Are we allowed to have, right next door to Cindy, she lives on a curve. There's 3 or 4 cars constantly in the street. And across the street from Cindy is Laura Elliott, and they almost hit that car coming around the curve. Bill has almost hit him when it's raining real bad, and there's 3 or 4 cars parked out, not in the grass, right in the road, and you go in the other side of the road to get by them. And sometimes he has trailers on the back of his vehicles because he's a race car driver or something. But you run up the rear end of one of them babies, that's gonna be ugly. So our police officers, sir, you need to check that out. It happens every weekend.
One of the issues that would come under whether it's zoned for no parking, at which side of the
The
street.
road is too narrow for,
Well,
So-
that's something we can take care of it. I'm not ignoring you, or I agree with you, but, for enforcement action, we have to have some authority there. But we can work on that, so.
but is there a ordinance, no parking in the streets of Bristol?
Well, that's what, They specify areas where there is no parking, when there is general parking, so I'd have to go back and look and see what that street, what it's marked for as far as parking, it may not be marked for anything, so, if we see a problem, we can come to the council.
Yes, and we can enact an ordinance if we need to.
So usually, in this house, there's, I'm gonna say 10 cars, and it's a little tiny driveway. And there's at least 5 cars sitting in the driveway and 4 or 5 sitting out in the streets. And it's right on the curb, so it needs to be taken care of before somebody has an accident.
Take care of it before it becomes.
I do, really.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
It never had a no parking on it. Since we
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
This is unrelated from all this, so, when Mike was here, before you come back, I talked to him about the Indiana ORV. Well, I don't know if he talked to you guys, I don't know what was said, or
The ORV,
if you approved an ordinance in town.
Yeah.
We are working on it.
yeah, it's,
Yep.
Yeah, there is the concept is being addressed, in some legislation that I'm putting together.
but to put it, to give you a short answer, Tim, yes, we're in favor of it.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to follow the county's guidelines of what they had proposed. Alex is working on the version for the town, but yes, we are in favor of it.
I wanted to make sure everything was smooth before I come rolling through town.
They wanna know what that means, what the,
Oh, so the ORV, Elkhart County adopted an ordinance that allows you to drive an ORV, which would be considered a razor or a four-wheeler on
Side by side.
side by sides, on county roads. And the current ordinance is just for Elkhart County. Bristol we are in the process of adopting our own version of that, which will allow the same thing and.
But that's not on the state highways.
Correct, that is not on the state highway. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be.
Yeah. So, Tim, she brings up a good point, Tim.
I'm not cracking you in. Hillbilly neighbors part that stuff.
No, we're in favor, you can't get here from there.
Our golf cart runs through town streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bristol's split. To get north, you gotta go on state highway.
Go south.
Actually, we may be able to allow them on state roads. Apparently Goshen did.
Just don't go on
Zero.
15 north.
If you go down to Syracuse or any of those places, like, those people use them as their cars. They're driving right down 15 or 13, goes right through Syracuse. But we've got a lake property down there, Columbia City, like. The only thing stopping me from getting from my house to the place on the lake is that little short piece of 15 in this town.
Well, we're fixing it down, so. Yeah, I've talked to NDOT about a little short stretch of 15.
Well, I had talked to with Mike previously, and he was like, hey, I don't see anything. Now I gotta swing the button with this guy.
I have very good visions.
Maybe I need a turbo.
Okay, anybody else today? All right, if not, we'll close public comment and we will move on to town council discussion items. Doug. What's this?
it says Doug.
Well, under town council discussion, please state your name and address.
Too.
And you only have 3 minutes to talk, Doug.
So make it short and sweet.
So looks like something got duplicated there.
Well,
Okay.
No, it's down on top, it's down.
Oh, it dropped down a lot. Okay. Town council, Doug, anything tonight? Dean, anything? No. Kathy?
No,
Greg?
No.
Okay, I have nothing else. So next meeting, we don't have it on the agenda. Don't have any.
nothing.
So, well, meeting's coming up in
August.
August, first, and I won't be here.
First.
I will not be here.
Mm,
So. Yeah. Who wants to run a
There's your
meeting?
man right there. He did a wonderful
I
job.
mean, Doug, you can do it later.
Okay, Doug will run the August 1st meeting.
I did it for years, so I'm done.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Motion by Gabby,
I'll second.
second by Greg, all in favor?
Aye.